Welcome to our channel, where we uncover chilling mysteries and true stories. We're glad you're here. In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers vanished in the icy wilderness of Russia's Ural Mountains. When rescuers finally discovered their camp, what they found has baffled the world for over 60 years. Torn tents, barefoot bodies in the snow, broken bones, missing eyes, and a tongue. This is the true story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, one of the most chilling real-life mysteries in modern history. The group, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, set out to conquer the frozen peaks of the Ural Mountains. They were young, smart, and skilled mountaineers. Before leaving, they laughed, took photos, and wrote cheerful diary entries. But as they climbed higher, the weather turned brutal. Temperatures dropped below -20 degrees Celsius, and the hikers faced blinding snowstorms. Still, they pressed on. None of them could have known that only days later, every single one would be dead. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, families grew anxious. Weeks passed, and search teams were finally sent. Soldiers, volunteers, and even helicopters combed the mountains. On February 26th, they made a discovery that sent shivers through even the most hardened rescuers: the hikers' tent. The tent was half buried in snow, and it was ripped open from the inside. Inside, the hikers' boots, coats, and gear were still neatly placed. It was as though they had fled in blind terror, with no time to prepare. In the snow nearby, searchers found footprints, barefoot and some only in socks, leading away into the woods. Something had terrified them enough to run into the freezing night almost naked. Following the footprints, rescuers discovered the first 2 bodies beneath a cedar tree, only a mile from the tent. They were dressed only in their underwear, their hands bruised as if they had tried to climb the tree in desperation. Soon after, 3 more bodies were found, frozen in the snow, as though they had collapsed while trying to return to the tent. Their positions suggested panic and confusion. 2 months later, the remaining 4 bodies were found deeper in the forest, buried beneath 4 meters of snow. These hikers had suffered horrific injuries. 1 had a fractured skull, 2 had broken ribs so severe that their internal organs were crushed, injuries described as equal to a car crash. And the most disturbing of all, 1 young woman was missing her eyes. Her tongue had been removed. Even stranger, their clothes showed high levels of radiation. What happened that night? Investigators proposed theories: an avalanche, a sudden snowstorm, even a wild animal attack. But none fit the evidence. Some survivors in nearby villages reported seeing strange glowing lights in the sky on the night of the incident. Others believed it was secret Soviet military testing, perhaps parachute mines or experimental weapons. But the most unsettling idea, that something unknown, something unnatural, drove the hikers into the dark. The Soviet Union closed the case in 1959 with a vague explanation. The hikers had died from a compelling natural force. Families were left without answers, and the mystery was buried, almost as deep as the hikers themselves. But the legend of the Dyatlov Pass only grew, whispered as a story of terror that science and reason still cannot fully explain. Today, more than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass remains one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. 9 hikers set out into the mountains, and what followed is a nightmare frozen in time. Perhaps we will never know what really happened that night, but one thing is certain: the Ural Mountains still hold their secrets, and the Dyatlov Pass still whispers with the voices of the dead. If this story chilled you to the bone, subscribe for more real-life horror and mysteries. For even more premium content, hit the bell and join our community. And tell us, what do you believe happened to the Dyatlov group?